Howdy folks, I'm Cute Cabbage White, crunchily chewing on crisp cabbage.
I'm Amber.
And here's more crisp cabbage for us to chew noisily on with our mouths full because we're very rude caterpillars, because that's the way it is. And folks, if this is your first time viewing or you're a new subscriber, then welcome. This is a show where we teach you how to defraud your partner for the next 20 minutes.
No.
Let's get started on that. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Respecting the Fancy Soap Policy in Our Bathroom and Accidentally Starting a Soap-Based Arms Race? So, my wife is a 30-year-old female and she bought this absurdly expensive soap from some little soap shop. It came in a tiny frosted glass bottle, wrapped in twine, with ridiculous branding like hints of pine, regret, and artisanal disappointment. Or something like that. She placed it in the bathroom counter and said to me that this is for guests only. We don't have guests, ever. Okay, well maybe like once every 2 months. I told her that, but apparently the idea of guests potentially seeing that we use commoner soap was too horrifying to bear. So, the fancy soap was enshrined like the Mona Lisa, untouched. Well, fast forward, I run out of regular cheapo soap, which came in a cracked plastic bottle with a pump that wheezed like a dying guinea pig. So, in a moment of desperation and dirty hands, I dared to touch the Holy Grail. Was halfway through using a single pump of soap when she walked in and looked at me as if I was defiling a sacred artifact or microwaving the Fabergé eggs. She said that I was wasting it and that it wasn't for everyday hands. I was mad. Then I did the unthinkable. I went out and I bought my own fancy soap, $30. Grapefruit and cedar. Smells like if a lumberjack went into therapy. And I proudly put it on the sink. I declared that this new soap was mine and I only have the right to use it. Suddenly it was Cold War era, soap edition. That evening I saw over her shoulder that she was searching for even more soap bottles on Etsy. Like she wanted revenge. At this point, now I want to invite some guests over to make sure that they use my fancy soap and not hers. Ha ha ha. Now she's mad that I'm mocking her and says that I'm turning cleanliness into a competition. I told her that she started the soap caste system and that I just refused to be born into a lower class. She hasn't spoken to me in 2 days, but I smell amazing. Tell me, am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I mean, I think that OP and his partner need to sit down and have a conversation, maybe with a intermediary moderator to help them talk through these feelings they have about soap. Like, I find it very strange that they have a guest-only soap, but also, like, I understand if the soap is very expensive, why she doesn't want to spend the money on it all the time. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
You know, I think that it's all right to put extra fancy soap out for your guests to make them feel extra welcome, right? I can also understand why they wouldn't want to waste money on, you having this as an everyday type of use thing, because it might just cost too much money to use on like a daily basis, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you have guests over, you do want to kind of pull out the red carpet for them and treat them fancy, right? Who doesn't want to be treated like a fancy guest, right?
I mean, I am probably a bad host because I make my guests use the regular soap.
I'm not saying that has to be the case for everyone. But I think that if they're getting into arguments about soap of all things, then there are probably other deeper relationship issues going on here. I'm really hoping that this is all hyperbole and that it isn't that they haven't talked to each other in 2 days.
Yeah, and have a soap arms race going where they're trying to get guests to use each other's soaps instead of the other one.
Yeah, I mean, this can't go well for anyone at that point in time because, I mean, at a certain point, you're just going to spend all of your household income on soap.
Fancy soaps, yeah. Next thing you know, their entire house is just like flooded with different soap scents, and they're like inviting over like their third cousin 3 times removed. Just like have guests coming in every 5 minutes, like, which soap are you gonna pick? Yeah. Wash your hands now.
I was imagining more like Bed Bath and Beyond, where they start having to actually sell the soap out of their house.
Yeah, that could work too.
So yeah, I just think that there might be a little bit more going on here than just the soap. If they're at each other, maybe they're too bored and they need better things to do with their time. I'm not really sure, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And OP replies on the comment thread. On a side note, I want to thank all the wonderful people in this subreddit because of my last conflict with my wife, and it was resolved with your help. I showed her the post where I complained about whale noises at night. We read the comments together and had a great time. I don't remember her laughing so hard in a long time. So, I mean, it at least sounds like they have a healthy relationship to some degree, right?
Yeah.
And Corvus, Coron says, can I just say that I hope you and your wife have many, many more issues that you want to write about. This is so hilariously well written. I'm in tears. Literally. Thanks for giving me a laugh, not the jerk. And Organic Mix 9422 says, this is my first Am I the Jerk that I've read in a long time that actually may be true. It was too funny to be fake. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for finding out that I've been unknowingly paying rent to my husband and his mom for 2 years. I'm a 31-year-old female and I've been married to Brian, a 33-year-old male, for 2 years. Right after the wedding, we moved into an apartment and he said that it was a great deal from a family friend. We agreed to split rent and utilities 50-50 to keep things equal since we were starting fresh and wanted to avoid money fights. So I've been sending him $700 a month just for the rent this whole time. Well, 3 days ago at a barbecue, I overheard his mom talking about how it's nice getting rent from Brian's place and how smart they were to keep it in the family. Turns out that his mom owns the apartment, and Brian's on the deed too. Turns out that the mom owned the apartment, and Brian's on the deed as well. I had no idea. He never told me, just let me keep paying rent for 2 years like a clueless roommate. When I confronted him, he said that I never asked and that I'm overreacting because we weren't overpaying. But I feel completely blindsided. It's not just the money, it's the secrecy. I told him that I won't keep paying until we talk about a fair setup. Now he's acting like I'm the problem. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
No, not the jerk. This is a scam he's running. Like, it doesn't matter if it is less than market rate or whatever. What matters is that your partner has hidden assets that they aren't telling you about. And you're married to them. Like, when you're married, finances, like, whether you have separate or joint finances, there's still like that intermingling of finances that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And so him keeping this asset hidden from you and taking your money for who knows what purposes. So it's like, if it's already paid off or something, then like, you know, who knows what he and his mom are doing with this money.
Yeah. I mean, I have a real problem with the secrecy, and I also have a problem with his whole, well, you didn't ask me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, when you marry someone, you expect them to be honest and trustworthy and not to try and scam you.
Well, who's going to ask that?
Right. I mean, I've never been like, hey, Brian, do you secretly own our apartment complex?
As a matter of fact, I do. I just happen to own it all. I know that that sounds far-fetched, but, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, but just something I picked up on the side here and there, right?
Well, that's the thing is like, who owns an apartment complex? Like, obviously there are people who do, but it's like not the norm.
Yeah, well, and also not many people own apartments for rent and stuff like that. And, you know, Brian said that it was from a family friend.
Right.
And a family friend is a little bit different from family itself. And so he wasn't really straightforward with the whole who it even belonged to from the beginning. He didn't say it was family owned. He said it was a family friend, right? And so it shows that he was intentionally being deceptive from the very beginning.
Well, he knows Opie would feel some sort of way about this and maybe not want to pay rent to him, and so that's why he was hiding it. He was hiding it so he could profit off of his wife.
Yeah, well, and that's really what it seems like. It seems like he is defrauding his wife and, you know, basically treating her as a source of income. We don't know if that money is going to him or not, right? And given that this is probably a premarital asset, the wife is going and paying the mortgage on a house that Brian's name is on, that hers isn't on, and she's not building equity in that, right? So it really just feels more like he is trying to get the mortgage paid off at the expense of his wife without them working together as a team towards shared common goals, right?
Right, or just taking the money if
Yeah.
the mortgage is already paid off, because it sounds like this has been in the family for a while.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that any partner is going to feel hurt to find out that their partner has a marital asset that you didn't know about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I just think that this was kind of a crummy way for them crummy thing for Brian to do to their wife. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Death Ray Ray says, it's not even that you didn't ask. He said that it was a family friend. It wasn't. It was him. And Device Motor 3938 says, and I bet that she's the only one paying quote unquote rent. And OP replies, yeah, he's never shown me his half of the quote unquote rent anywhere. Starting to think that I was the only one paying anything. And that makes this even more worse, right? And No Cap 5295 says, oh wow, your husband does not understand what it is to be married. I'm sorry to say, but he does not trust, respect, or love you. I'm really recommending seeing a counselor at the minimum and leaving him as the best option. I'm really sorry. And OP replies, thanks, but do you really think that it's this serious? Like divorce level serious? So what do you think about that? Is this divorce worthy?
I mean, I definitely think, if you cannot trust your partner to be honest about finances, if they are hiding secret assets from you, yeah, it's time to reevaluate this relationship. I mean, I want to know what else he's hiding.
Well, that's, I think, the big question. I think that you bring up a really good point here is this the only thing he's hiding? And maybe not, right?
Like, if he's willing to and able to lie to OP so easily for years about this, I mean, I don't know how I would trust someone again after that.
Yeah, it would be a really hard bridge to rebuild at that point in time.
And even if he's not hiding something, like, that is such a huge breach of trust anyway, that, like, it could be a relationship ender in its own right.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I flipped my girl's money and returned it back with more on top, and she still left. So I'm a 24-year-old male, and my girlfriend, a 26-year-old female. We've been in a relationship for a little over 3 years. Well, she's a little older, but that's never been an issue for the time that we have been together. She has always been respectful and loving. I mean, they're 2 years apart.
Yeah, I know.
So, working in a dingy job for a year now, still trying to figure out life here as a young man. The pressure to secure a bag has never been any less. My girlfriend has a well-paying job at her dad's company, and they are well off, to be honest. This low-key has always kind of motivated me to work harder, but let's be frank, no matter how hard you work, you can't make more money at the same job. As far as I know, I've never seen a guy flipping burgers and getting a penthouse out of it. Well, a little while ago, she suggested that we open a joint savings account for emergency funds and whatnot. Obviously, I agreed, with her contributing more for obvious reasons. As I was going through the usual brain rot TikToks, I saw a random one saying buy this and this new token that had just launched, and I heard people were making some good bucks from it. I didn't understand the crypto lingo, but I said, whatever, let's just go with it. And I went to the bank. I withdrew $6,000, got the coins, which I won't mention since this isn't what the post is about, on a certain exchange, and I waited. Well, a few weeks later, I logged in, and to my surprise, the balance was $10,200, which didn't seem believable. I quickly cashed out, and the money actually went in. Naturally, I put the cash back that I had taken out of our joint account and a bit more, and the rest I got some stuff that I needed, and I took her on a mini vacation for 2 days. She grew suspicious of my sudden cash inflow, and cut to a long story short, she contacted the bank and learned about the withdrawal. She flipped out and started saying that I stole her money, despite knowing that I had also contributed the little that I could. Let's say that I have never seen her that mad. The 2-day vacation has now turned to a 1-day vacation. I also got mad at her for the insults, and apparently that didn't help the situation. I came back to my place, we don't live together, and later that night I got a text from her saying that she can't date a thief and a broke guy at the same time. That really made me feel like I was in love with a stranger for the 3 years. How could she think of me in such a way and still cuddle with me at night? Anyways, now I'm single, sad, and confused. Did she overreact, or was I just simply wrong? Arg. Alright, folks, what do you think?
You are definitely in the wrong, and she's right to call you a thief, OP. Like, I understand you had a joint financial account, but that isn't for you to have free reign over. You know, big ticket purchases need two people's consent. Like, why didn't you talk to her? Presumably because you knew she could lose the money, or you knew she wouldn't agree to it, or any number of things. Like, you just took the money without consulting her and invested it, and yeah, you turned a profit this time around, but you could just have easily have lost that, and she could have been out $6,000.
The problem I have here is I don't think that OP was malicious. I don't think that they did this out of malice. I think that they did this out of carelessness and not considering how their partner would feel about the situation, which isn't really much better. And they didn't think about the consequences that would have on their partner to find out that they had done something like this, right? They decided to take money that was jointly theirs, not use it for an emergency, and it should have been used for an emergency, and to kind of spend it on something that was a gamble, right? A gamble is not an emergency. And if OP wanted to do this, they should have consulted their partner first and gotten them on board with it, saying, like, I feel like there's a way for us to make some money here. Would you want to take the risk with me? Right?
Well, and the fact that he didn't, I'm pretty sure he knew that she wouldn't approve.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason why he didn't talk to her, didn't show her the money when he won, because, like, like, I think he knew what he was doing was not going to be appreciated.
Yeah, and the fact that he hid that he ended up making that much money and then not, talking to her about what would be a fair, equitable split on this, because OP took out a 0% interest loan from their partner essentially, and then used it for a risky investment, and then their partner doesn't even get any cut of the profit. Well, and while he did take her on a vacation, that might not have been what her preferred use of money would have been, right? She was thinking that she got this money or that he got his money through a, different means, not off of her back, right? So it's a difficult situation. I mean, I certainly understand OP's frustration because they might feel like this is out of left field, but I don't think they're kind of viewing things from their partner's point of view here.
Well, that's the thing, is that he's only thinking about himself. Like, he's like, oh, I don't even know this person. No, she doesn't even know you. If
Mm-hmm.
you can take $6,000 and gamble it, and with no concern,
Yeah.
and hide it from her, she's the one who's waking up to a harsh truth. She could have said all those things to you and absolutely meant them up until the point where she realized that you scammed her.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, like, I think that OP, had good intentions. I just think that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say, right? I think that they didn't do the right thing.
Well, I wouldn't even say he had good intentions. I think he had dollar signs in his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, 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 tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Try again later. The wheel has had enough. The wheel is fed up with people. The wheel's like, I'm taking that 2-day vacation now. And Wimble Wobble says, you stole her money to gamble. She's right to dump you. And OP replies, but I returned the full amount, and I was just trying my luck. And Wimble Wobble says, doesn't matter, the betrayal is still the same. Out of curiosity, what was your plan if gambling didn't work out? And OP replies, I have a small car. I would be okay with letting it go if things didn't work out well. What do you think about that?
I mean, first of all, is the car worth as much as he thinks it's worth? Second of all, I don't even know if he considered the possibility he was going to lose. Like, it's easy to say in like retrospect now, like, oh yeah, I could totally do these things, but like, and it doesn't matter. Even if he would have sold it and could have recouped the costs, why didn't he just sell the car and use that money to do his gambling?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a very good question. Or pawn it, or get a loan on it, or
Right, there's any number
of
of things he could have done where the money would have been solely his,
Yeah,
instead of taking joint funds.
yeah, and that's the really tricky thing here. Is anytime you take risks with someone else's money without their consent, you are taking from them. You're stealing from them, right? All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
How did the skunk parent tell their child to handle questionable situations?
Well, I would say that a skunk parent is a very special type of parent. They know about danger and they know about unsavory situations. And so, if I were a skunk parent, I would tell my kid to be a little stinker if they got into a dangerous situation, and that would be how to handle it.
Trust your instincts.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And today is Trust Your Intuition Day.
Oh, so make sure to trust your intuition. And if you see somebody that you don't like or that scares you, release some noxious odors at them.
That's probably not a good idea.
And I have the special guest tea, some matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on bad partners.
If you're going to make big financial decisions, it's important to clue your partner in.
Yes.
Whether that's don't keep secret property and don't take money from the joint fund without asking.
Yes. And also, don't start a soap war. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.